Mrs. Packard, written by Emily Mann in 2007, follows the story of Reverend Packard's inhumane treatment of his wife. Taking place in 1861, this play shows Elizabeth Packard's time spent in a Jacksonville insane asylum, having been deemed an insane heretic by her husband. It is revealed that Mrs. Packard has been placed here, as well as several others before, because she decided to leave her husband's church to follow her own beliefs, and is therefore a danger to herself and her 6 children. After a short while in the asylum, the doctor gives her the option to go home if she would only sign a document stating that she will subdue completely to the wishes and beliefs of her husband. Not willing to give up her own beliefs, and knowing that she is sane, Elizabeth takes any opportunity she gets to write down all the horrible things happening at the asylum and sews the papers into her clothes to hide them, such as beatings of other patients and inhospitable wards. For example, the ward she is sent to halfway through due to her supposed violence has no washrooms, with cleaners coming in weekly to do nothing more than shovel out the patient's excrements. Many months later, when Elizabeth finally gets out of the asylum by being deemed sane from a forced meeting with the president of the board, she is immediately taken home and locked up by her husband, unallowed to see her children, for he fears she will teach them her heretic ways and spread her insanity. Throughout the play, there are small sections of witnesses speaking in court of whether they believe Mrs. Packard to be sane. At the end, we find out that this trial is due to Elizabeth managing to get her writings to a judge while she was locked in her house after her release. Elizabeth Packard is deemed sane by the court, but her husband takes her children, sells the house, and leaves her nothing but the trunk she had with her in the asylum. Since she had sewn her writings into these clothes, she was able to bring them forth and make a lot of necessary change. After 9 years, she got the asylum closed down, the doctor fired, and finally gained sole custody of all her children, most of which later died or went insane, leaving one to follow in his father's footsteps and one to stay with her mother until she passed. This play is so important because it shows how far women have come in society by showing things that are often uncomfortable to talk about. It shows how women were not always treated with respect, had no rights, and at times were barely seen as their own person, forbidden to have thoughts or opinions of their own. This play shows how a woman was deemed insane, violent, and a danger to her children simply because she formed opinions different than those of a man, and she would only be let back into the world if she gave up all of her free will and everything she believed in. Thank you.